Around 30. I don't think the
Sports.
full,
I will be brutally honest. Ain't nothing but being brutally honest. Coming at you with another video.
What's up, everybody? Let's welcome my special guest, Moneyline Mikey, man. How's it going, bro?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
All doing well, bro. I know it's been a minute since the NFC West Roundtable. Maybe when things start kicking in again, man. It's just been really kind of like nobody's pushing for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I've been busy with work, but I'm always here whenever I got time. It's always busy trying to figure out 4 different types of schedules all at the same time. But you and me, I always got time,
Yeah, for sure, bro. But speaking of it, man, like you got a pretty good platform. You got a huge follower on TikTok, man. Tell everybody where they can follow your social media platform.
So I'm Moneyline Mikey on TikTok, as you can see the display name right about. See, I'm not used to the.
It says Moneyline Mikey. Yeah, you should be able to find them. And you got the funniest memes and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I'm like as people say it, the biggest Cardinals TikToker, because I'm the biggest Cardinals fan with a following on TikTok. So, yeah, I'm here. I'm chilling. It's been a tough past couple weeks for the Cardinals, but hopefully this week can be something different, something at least hopeful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very hopeful. So we're getting into the previews, man. So I think this is kind of like a bounce back game for both teams, between the two. Like if you look at the matchup, Arizona I think they had one of the most dominant fashion against the Rams, and then they go into playing the Lions and Commanders. They've been on a slump ever since. But man, it was like at first I thought you guys were looking legit, man.
Yeah, so of course we had that ass whooping against the Rams. That was great. Everything was trending up for the Cardinals, right? Then we had that game against the Lions, and in my honest opinion, the game against the Lions wasn't so bad. Yes, it was a loss, but there was good things from that game. There was some missed calls that might have changed the trajectory of the game. So the Lions game, I feel like it's, it was all right. It could have been better. The game against the Commanders was just an absolute just disaster, though. That's we had former head coach Cliff Kingsbury coming to Arizona. And the entire time, a lot of Cardinals fans were like, oh, we're going to show Cliff Kingsbury how Kyler Murray can, utilize his full potential, right? Because for the longest, we always were like, okay, Cliff Kingsbury, our head coach, Steve Keim, our general manager, are the ones that are holding back Kyler Murray and James Conner and all these other people on offense, right? Yet Cliff Kingsbury comes into Arizona and basically just puts the ass whooping on the Cardinals. And it was just a complete team failure, both on offense and on defense. We're talking offense, they had a touchdown on the opening drive and then could do absolutely nothing. After that, defense just kept getting scored on left and right. It was just a complete team failure on all ends, basically.
Yeah, like when I was looking at the Cardinals, I felt like they're just like a young type of team. I think give it a season or two and they'll be very good. But like, you guys were showing some early competitive promising when you played Buffalo, but then playing the Commanders, like you just said, Kingsbury, that seemed like a revenge game for him. But like you were saying, a lot of your fan base were complaining towards Steve Kimes and Cliff Kingsbury being the problem of what holds back the team. But I feel like when you guys made that draft pick with Marvin Harrison, man, Jr., man, you were already pushing for that guy. You were saying we're going to get him at some point. You said we're going to get him. If they don't get him, then something's wrong with them. You know what I mean?
And luckily we did get him. You know, it's been great watching Marvin Harrison Jr. on the field. These past 3 games, he's had a touchdown in every single game. So we are utilizing him. I just feel there's other issues on offense that we just can't figure out. And, you know, because the first game against Buffalo, of course, Marvin Harrison only had like 1 catch for 4 yards. And people were like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why aren't you using Marvin Harrison? Like, you literally drafted this guy with your 4th overall pick. You should be throwing to him a lot. And then our offensive coordinator is like, we'll try to sort of fit him into the game plan and so on and so forth. And every single game after that, he's had a touchdown. But there's other glaring issues that just, depending on the matchup, we need to figure out. So, like, against the Commanders, we were running the ball well, and then we got away from the run. Because in the first opening drive against the Commanders, we were running the ball well with James Conner. James Conner was running up the gut. He was, you know, pushing the ball down the field. At the very end, then, of course, Murray lobs it up to Marvin Harrison, and all is well. And then since then, we just got away from the run, and then we tried tossing it. We tried getting cute with it. Of course, it just resulted in punt, and then the offense stalled at that point. So yeah. I feel at this point, we got Marvin Harrison involved in our offense. Now we just have to somehow make the run happen to keep because if we don't manage to establish the run early, then teams figure out, okay, they're only going to pass to Marvin Harrison. Because although we do have Michael Wilson, we do have Greg Dortch, the problem is Michael Wilson's still in his 2nd year and he's still figuring things out. Greg Dortch is like 5'8", 5'9". He's great on certain downs, but he's not in every down wide receiver. So it's basically like at that point, if we cannot establish the run, teams will be like, well, you just got to double cover Marvin. And then at that point, Kyler Murray's going to struggle to push the ball downfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good argument, because when I look at the Cardinals offense, I figure that's who we had to slow down is James Conner, because Conner is like your engine that moves on this offense. I mean, outside of Kyler Murray, who kind of does run outside the pocket very effectively, you have to really slow down James Conner to make this Cardinals offense more of a one dimension, you know, because they're going to focus on Marvin Harrison. But, you know, the positive news about the Cardinals is they're going to get Trey McBride coming back this week. Is that true?
Yeah, so he finally cleared concussion protocol. He missed the game against the Commanders because he was in concussion protocol. Even if he did play that game against the Commanders, it wouldn't have made that much of a difference because it was an all-team failure. But having Trey McBride back for the game against the 49ers is big, because that is an extra weapon that Kyler Murray can throw to, because Trey McBride, when he is in the lineup, he has been playing like a top 10 tight end.
Yeah, he's been playing like a legit top 10 tight end. Like, once he's on the field, he's kind of like your version of George Kittle. Like, we could put it like that. You know, since you're talking about the matchup against the 49ers, what's concerning for your Cardinals against the 49ers? What's something that the Cardinals have to do to avoid this situation?
Well, first off, you know, we have to beat the 49ers. Like, we have to. Because if we don't beat the 49ers, we'll move to 1-4 on the year. And at that point, you could kind of just throw the playoff hopes out the window, you know? Because once you're at 1-3, you're in desperation mode. You're like, okay, look, a lot of teams that start off 1-3, they don't end up making the playoffs. If you start off 1-4, it's like even the chances of you making the playoffs are you're like winning a lottery ticket or winning a jackpot. It's just it's damn near impossible. So if we're able to go from 1-3 to 2-3, that would be great because that's only one game away from 500. But it's a tough matchup against you guys. And the 49ers are never a pushover. Never. You guys always know what the hell you guys are doing. Luckily, look, I'm not saying you guys have been struggling, but you guys have injuries. You guys have been struggling with certain teams, and it is a divisional matchup. So I'm looking forward to it because maybe, hopefully, the Cardinals can put it all together and just, go out there and start running the ball, score touchdown after touchdown. The thing that worries me the most about the Cardinals is our defense. Our defense, we just don't have that much talent on defense, and we just need to keep the ball in the end zone. So we need to keep scoring touchdown after touchdown because if our offense stalls out, then we'll no doubt Brock Purdy's going to go over there and throw it to Juwan Jennings or George Kittle. I don't know what's happening with Ayuk so far, but I mean, if Ayuk somehow has a career game against us, that would probably be, crazy as well. But that's what we need to do as the Cardinals. We need to score touchdown after touchdown and just try to keep you guys in the back mirror.
Yeah, I think that's probably what you would be more concerned about is your defense because your run defense is horrendous. Like watching how you guys giving up 150 plus yards a game. That's something that you guys have to fix. I mean, especially going against the number 2 running back in the NFL that's not named Christian McCaffrey. Jordan Mason is one of the top up and coming running backs, and you're going to play this guy. So it's like you got to fix that run defense. And then you're talking about how this could be a very competitive game because it's division. It's anybody's ball game. They play strange games, so you never know. I know Arizona gives us a tough fight. They're no pushover, even despite how the record is. You always have to look at the Arizona Cardinals as a fighting team. Maybe they may not be a playoff team right now, but they're going to give it their best shot. They're going to give it their all in their division games. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Cardinals, we've always made it a mission to be in it as long as we can. The Cardinals, I mean, under head coach Jonathan Gannon, they've always fought hard in every single game, and they it's not like it's always been a blowout with the Cardinals. So last year when we had Josh Dobbs at quarterback, that was a completely different story. But once Kyler Murray came back into the lineup, every single game that Kyler Murray has been a part of ever since coming back from his injury has been at least a one-possession game outside of the game against the Commanders. Every other game before that has at least been a possession-only game. So we're hoping to at least keep this game against the 49ers within a possession. But like you said, it's going to be hard if our defense just keeps getting either burnt, toast. It doesn't help. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it doesn't really help, especially with your defensive line going through some injuries right now. I mean, a lot of your guys on your defensive line lineup are mostly backups. I mean, the guy that I liked in your guys' draft pick was Darius Robinson, the kid from Missouri that you guys drafted. I really was hoping for him to slide to us, but I guess he's still on IR as we speak. And then there's that one guy you guys drafted from LSU. I forget his name, Ojawari or whatever his name is. He's kind of coming in. Yeah, there you go.
BJ Ojulari and Darius Robinson. So BJ Ojulari, I don't expect him to play this year. His injury is significant to the point that it'll more than likely keep him out the entire year. Darius Robinson is the one I'm at least hoping to see. He had a injury during training camp back in August, and he's still working through getting rehabbed for his injury. He was placed in the IR. He was eligible to return against the 49ers this week because you know how the IR is 4-game minimum. he was eligible to return against the 49ers, but head coach Jonathan Gannon has said that he's still in his rehab process. He still might be another 2-3 weeks away. So we might not see Darius Robinson until at least late October, early November at the latest. But yeah, with those injuries plus the amount of sheer what's it called? Not talentless, but just like there's not a lot of talent on defense. That just gives us more issues. And I've always stated this too. Monty Ossenfort, our current GM, right? I hope he's somewhere out there trying to cook up some trades to get some extra linebackers, some extra defensive ends before the trade line. I know there's guys like Hassan Reddick out there, Devin White, that haven't played for their current teams. I know Devin White hasn't played for the Eagles. Hassan Reddick hasn't played for the Jets. If there's any way to sort of figure a trade for one of those two guys, bring them over to Arizona, there'll be an immediate impact just because we don't have that much talent on defense. They'll probably carry the defense themselves. Hassan Reddick used to play in Arizona under Steve Keim. He left Arizona because he had an issue with Steve Keim because Steve Keim wasn't going to pay him the money that Hassan Reddick was looking for. That's, of course, when he left. I forgot where Hassan Reddick went to afterwards. I think he went to the Panthers. Then that's why he's now with the Jets. And then, of course, he's having his issues with the Jets right now. Devin White, he was, of course, with Tampa Bay. He's up in Philadelphia right now, and he's having contract issues out there. So I'm hoping maybe Monty Ossenfort can cook up something. Those guys don't look like they're going to play for their teams at all. So maybe, I don't know, throw in a 6th-round pick, shoot it out there to Philadelphia, New York, maybe get one of those players in return and see how the rest of the year works out with them. And if it works out well, sign them to a long-term deal because that's definitely what we need, help on defense.
Yeah, your guys are going to need a lot of help in a lot of different ways. I mean, yeah, that defense is what's probably going to hold you guys back. I think your offense is probably going to keep it more promising because from the looks of it, you guys were playing very close to some of your opponents until you played the Commanders. So it was convincing when you guys did beat the Rams, but then to be honest, we lost to them, and I don't know how that even happened. It's just a weird kind of thing, but we'll see what happens this Sunday because when we look at the matchup, Kyler Murray he's more than just any other quarterback. He can move outside the pocket and scramble if he has to. So even if he holds on to the ball, he's still going to be hard to tackle because you still got to slow down his running lanes because if those running lanes are if he sees something open and nobody's open, he's going to run around like a kid and just get some chunk of yards. And that's something that we had to keep our eye on because we've had struggles against mobile quarterbacks, and Murray's one of them dudes.
Yeah, and hopefully, so here's the thing as well, since you brought that up. Kyler Murray, ever since his return from his ACL injury, he hasn't been doing that much scrambling and running. And that's one thing that you may have to keep in mind as well. So a lot of people have expected Kyler Murray to go out there and start, like you said, scrambling, running the ball. He'll be making all these crazy moves and he'll get 10, 20 yards, And in the game against the Rams, yes, he did do that. In the game against the Bills, yes, he did do that. But in these past 2 games against the Lions and against the Commanders, he hasn't done that much scrambling. Now, of course, I would love to see Kyler Murray do a bit more scrambling. That way, we could keep the defense on its toes. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to risk injury as well because Kyler Murray can be prone to injury if he is scrambling outside the pocket. So we'll keep that in mind for the game on Sunday. If Kyler Murray's out there scrambling, just know this is desperation mode because Kyler Murray won't be out there scrambling with the ball if he didn't have to,
Yeah. And I don't think he has to necessarily because he does have some good accuracy at times. So when he throws the ball, he'll throw it to where it needs to be at times. But I think this is going to be a shootout kind of game, maybe. It wouldn't be a surprise if this game becomes a little bit of a high score between both teams because you never know how that division plays out. My only concern against the Cardinals is if we can slow down James Conner, then we have a good chance. But I think Marvin Harrison Jr. might just break out, and that could be scary because we don't know who's going to cover him. We don't know if Ward's going to be on the guy. For all I know, maybe Trey McBride might just break out of nowhere because we've been struggling a little bit against tight ends a little bit. So I feel like the best way to get to you guys is try to get some pressure, but not blitz. If we blitz Murray might be able to try to he might try to escape a little bit, but I've heard his percentage of completions have dropped. Like once you blitz him from time to time, he kind of just doesn't have good completions at times. Like when he's not pressure, he's very effective. I think it's 70% if I'm mistaken. And then if you blitz him, it goes down 63% or something like that, if I'm mistaken.
I would mainly chalk that up to the offensive line because if our offensive line gets blitzed, they're not very good against the blitz. Now, we still have some holes on offensive line. We've had our right tackle, Jonah Williams, who went down with injury, and we've been kind of like having a little revolving door of tackles on that side. Kelvin Beachum was in there for a bit, and then I forgot who the third string was. He was in there for a bit when Kelvin Beachum was out. I think Kelvin Beachum might play in this game against the 49ers. I'm not so sure. I think he's questionable for now. But yeah, you're basically right. When Kyler Murray does get blitzed, his completion rate does go down because at that point he's just like, because he'll run this way, he'll run that way, and then he's like looking down the field trying to see if somebody's open, and then he'll realize nobody's open, and then at that point it's like he'll just throw the ball away because he doesn't want to get sacked and lose yards, or he realizes if I rush forward, it's not going to do us any favors. So that's basically why. So hopefully our offensive line could stay put even against the blitz to just hold tight, keep Murray in a clean pocket. That way he could just toss that ball down the field.
Yeah. And, since you want to feel optimistic about this matchup, what needs to happen for the Cardinals to upset the 49ers with these three keys, man?
So what needs to happen for the Cardinals to beat the 49ers is we need to start off strong and keep the foot on the pedal. We're talking we cannot just go out there and look like a dog in a deer in headlights on our first opening drive. If that happens where we go out there on the first opening drive and we do not score a touchdown, I kind of don't have a good feeling about the rest of the game because that means the offense is struggling. And if the offense is going to start struggling, that means defense has a lot of work to pick up. And knowing the 49ers offense, this defense is going to have a lot of issues stopping George Kittle. Who else you got? Brandon Ayuk, Joan Jennings, Jordan
Debo.
Mason. Debo, sometimes I forget Debo, but because he was out with injury for a minute, I keep forgetting about him as well. But yeah, just everybody that's on the 49ers, you guys have a lot of playmakers on offense too. So like you said, it'll be a shootout. I hope it's a shootout because that's our only way of winning. Because if it becomes a defensive game, I don't have much faith in the Cardinals defense to stop the 49ers offense. So we need to go out there on our first possession, score a touchdown, and then on defense, hopefully hold you guys out to 3 and out, and then on our second possession, another touchdown. And we're talking at that point, if we somehow end up having a touchdown lead over you, I would feel much more comfortable. But if we go out there and it's just 3 and out for our offense, I have a bad feeling in my gut.
Yeah, I think that's the best way for Arizona to be in this game is like if they can get the offense rolling, which if this running game starts to become a factor, which we know James Conner is very capable of, if that comes down to your running game being very effective, it could be anybody's ball game. But if this Niners defense slows down your running game and it kind of becomes an issue with Kyler Murray getting blitz, it could be a long day. But I feel like for this upset to happen for the Cardinals, I feel like the running game is going to be the most important part of your offense. I feel like if your defense makes some stops on our offense, that can be your advantage because you're taking away some of our possessions. You're taking away the chances of us scoring. And if your offense gets rolling with Kyler Murray throwing the ball to Marvin Harrison and those other weapons, I think that can be a recipe for disaster for the Niners. But I feel like for us to keep this game away from you guys is just run the ball dominantly and try to feed the ball to the receivers that we got. And then try to stop your offense make your offense to a one dimension. So we'll definitely see what happens this Sunday. But for your score prediction, I want to see what your score prediction is, and then maybe we can answer a couple more questions on the comment section.
So if I had to go with a score prediction, I would go with something around the lines of like a 27-24 game, Cardinals winning.
Okay.
I would say it'll be like you said, it'll be a shootout. We're talking touchdown after touchdown, and it'll probably just come down to a last minute field goal where Kyler Murray has the ball with 1 minute left in the fourth quarter, and then he just tosses it over there to Marvin Harrison at the very end of the game, gets us into field goal range. I will say this, though. Matt Prater is currently questionable to play on Sunday. And if that's the case, I might be a little worried because we just signed a kicker to the practice squad, which doesn't look good. But they're saying Matt Prater is hopeful to play on Sunday, but if he doesn't go on Sunday, then it might be a backup kicker. Whoever the backup kicker is, I'm just hoping they at least make that last-minute field goal for the Cardinals, which with that Murray and Marvin Harrison connection, hopefully just gets them that close to where it's a chip shot. You know what I mean? But that's what my score prediction would be.
Yeah. Well, it really depends on how your defense plays. But if it's going to be a close game, I would say it would go down maybe to 3 points at the most. But if the Niners play exactly what they're more than capable of playing against you guys, it might just be a 31-17. Who knows? But I think if we look at the way it could play out, it wouldn't surprise me if it comes down to a field goal. So I'm not taking you guys lightly, but if you guys are having some problems on defense, it's anybody's ball game. We saw what the Rams did, so it wouldn't be a shocker if you guys pull it off. So we'll see what happens. But I feel like
I'm kind of basing of course the Cardinals aren't the Rams. The Cardinals are not the Rams, but I'm hoping it's sort of like we kind of surprise you guys in a way like the Rams did. Everybody thought, oh, the Niners are just going to completely smack the Rams. And then the Rams, and you guys were up, 14-0 at one point, and then the Rams came back and literally beat you guys to the very last minute. Maybe, hopefully, it'd be the same for the Cardinals where everybody thinks the Cardinals are going to lose this weekend, right? Of course, I don't. I want the Cardinals to win. But most people, even Vegas themselves, has the Cardinals losing. We're like a 7-point underdog. So they even have the 49ers beating us by a full touchdown. I think we could still at least cover the spread. I think we could beat you guys by a field goal. But like you said, hopefully the offense just sticks together. We score touchdown after touchdown, and maybe our defense pulls out a turnover, 3 and out, 4 and out, and then just keeps the Cardinals in the game.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll see what happens this Sunday. But may the best team win. And for everybody else, man, let's see what they got to say in the comment section. Maybe we can get a couple questions. Let's see. Well, it's going to be a hot game. Speaking of the temperature, you'd be surprised in the Bay Area, there's a little bit of a hot weather going into Sunday's game. So it's going to be possibly 98 degrees this Sunday. Cardinals are very accustomed to hot weather, of course. But like, yeah, did you hear about that? That the weather's going to be kind of like a 98 degrees over there?
I did see something on it on like Twitter where with the way Levi Stadium is shaped and built, like it'll be like basically a big toaster oven with the way the sun's pointing a majority of the field. I did see that. The Cardinals sort of are used to the hot weather, and the reason why I say sort of is because, of course, State Farm Stadium is a dome. So if you've ever been to State Farm Stadium,
I've
it
been there
is
once.
AC in there, so it is refreshing. It's cooling in there. It's not like we're out, under 100-degree weather the entire time. But the Cardinals training facility is outdoors, though. It's not indoors. Their training facility is outdoors. So they do a lot of practices and stuff like that outdoors. So that might give them some sort of advantage, but I'm not really worried about it too much. I feel like it'll be a non-factor for both teams. Maybe, I don't
Yeah,
know how the 49ers are, because I'm not sure if they're used to that sort of weather. I feel like it'll probably be a non-factor for both teams.
I think it'll be a non-factor. But like you said, I've been down to State Farm Stadium before. I mean, it's a pretty cool stadium. Not gonna lie. I mean, we'll see what happens this Sunday. Man, I guess there ain't too much questions. It's just about temperature. Oh yeah, speaking of James Conner, we might see a little bit of a little rivalry kind of fight between him and Hufanga or quite a few other guys. Remember the last game where he kind of like lost his cool when the Niners beat him?
Well, I don't know if it was Connor that was losing his cool. I don't know. But
But Huff, man, Huff was in between it, man. I don't know.
look, all I'm gonna say is I wouldn't mind some. I wouldn't mind seeing a little fisticuffs for a bit, but hopefully it's not a big major issue. Hopefully they just like it was just an issue from last year, and then hopefully this year it's because of course I don't want James Conner to go out there and start looking for issues and then get himself thrown out or anything like that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, maybe there might be a little chippiness between James Conner and Hufanga. We'll see about that. But I don't know. I feel like it's not that big of an issue to me, but we'll see when Sunday rolls around.
Yeah, we'll see what happens this Sunday. But hey, may the best team win, and hopefully we catch up this later in the season. I know we play you guys later, so for anybody
Oh,
else who's
all,
not,
all the way later. We're talking last game of the season. So
yeah,
it's this
yeah,
game, and then basically we won't see you guys till the very end of the year. So it's like we don't know how the matchup is going to look at the end of the season. So it's like we need to take this seriously now. That way, hopefully, that game later on in the season
it means
actually
something.
means something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and we'll figure out something maybe like at the end of the season. But yeah, for everybody else, man, this is Moneyline Mikey, man. Go follow him on TikTok, and we'll definitely do some more previews for the next matchup. But for everybody else, man, thank you for having a good day. And Mikey, man, say what you got to say before we end it.
I just wanted to say you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you for checking in. Moneyline Mikey on TikTok. Same as this, except without the E. It's a 3. And well, let's go Cards. Hopefully we can pull off this upset, and then we can move on to 2 and 3. Move on to the Cheeseheads right afterwards, and then hopefully we'll still be in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, we shall see, man.